Welcome to the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens. We are at the Greg Norman's Australian Grill here in North Myrtle Beach. It's a beautiful day outside, and you can't tell because we're in a beautiful room within Greg Norman. So very blessed to have this location today. Beautiful day outside. And for you guys who are listening to the show, as always, I want to bring you some value. I want to talk about things that all leaders need to know, because a part of great leadership is knowing how to rebound after you've had a tough situation before. See, life isn't about all rainbows and unicorns, as they say. Sometimes you're going to deal with challenges and you're going to deal with opportunities for improvement. Well, how do you get into that mindset if you're already struggling a little bit? So we're going to talk about keys to success. Specifically, I've got a guy who's going to talk about 4 keys to success that have helped him throughout his career. But without further ado, I do want to introduce Jon Silver. He is an executive of Cumulus Media. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
Well, we've been talking for a little while, Jon, and it's good to have you out here. What all you been up to lately, man?
Man, it's a huge year, 2024, lots of potential. It's summertime. We live in a resort town, so we're going to have 15 to 20 million visitors here. It's a political year, so we've got lots of interest there. And just, the future is bright. So just a great year so far, and I'm excited about the future.
Man, you've been in Myrtle Beach for how long?
10 years now.
10 years. What? So where were you before you were in Myrtle Beach?
So I was born and raised originally in Raleigh, North Carolina. I grew up there. My parents were from Raleigh, North Carolina. They actually grew up at the Methodist Home Orphanage for Children in Raleigh, North Carolina. And so my parents were orphans, and I grew up with just a hard work ethic and the kind of valuing education. And went to East Carolina University, became a pirate up there, and had a good experience. And now I found myself in Myrtle Beach. Love the beach.
Oh man, that's good. What would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned? So for people who listen to this show who are out of the area, they may visit Myrtle Beach. They may have potentially lived here before, or they're thinking about moving here now. Yeah. What would you say is different about Myrtle Beach versus other places you've lived?
Man, there's just so many fun things to do. So it doesn't feel like work here. You got right here we're at a waterfront location, but you got the oceanfront, obviously. Beautiful weather, really nice people, really just great people down here, and a big mix. There's people here from South Carolina. There's hundreds of thousands of people that are here that visit or live here that are from other places. So big mix, just great people, great quality of life here. And it's a great place to do business. So I love living in the beach.
Great place to do business. Yeah, it's one of the few places in the country where you can go to a golf course today. You can go to a wax museum tomorrow, and then you can go over to Broadway at the beach and experience some of that stuff. Have you been to Broadway much?
I love Broadway at the beach. I always tell people you can ride a helicopter at Broadway at the beach. And then go deep sea fishing, and then ride a horse the next day. So Myrtle Beach has everything.
And this is true. They have a helicopter ride, and I'm not sure. I've never done this thing, but I think the advertisements are something like $20 helicopter rides, and that seems a little like. I mean, I guess it's safe. I know they get their passage. It sounds a little scary.
Yeah. Those are bucket list prices right there. Those are kind of entry level prices, but they take you up and down the beach, the Grand Strand. You get to see a lot of things, and they tell you the history about it. So it's fun. My parents have done it. I'd say it's something to at least do once.
Okay. Well, so going back to Broadway, the big hot thing right now is they've been talking about the Tiger Woods. I think it's called Pop Stroke.
Pop Stroke.
Yeah. Have you been to this yet?
I haven't, but I love putt-putt golf. Yeah. My wife and I do that all the time, so I'm very excited about going there. We have to be one of the putt-putt capitals of the world right here, so I'm super excited.
That's absolutely right. Now, so when you go out and you're playing mini golf, aka putt-putt, and are you one of those intense putt-putt guys? Are you out there?
I try to win. I'm very competitive. I love winning. I try to play according to my competition. So if there's some kids there, people half my age, you definitely want to let them win and get some feel good there. But I definitely play to win for sure.
Because your wife called the show and she said she wins every time you guys play.
That is true. That is true. She's excellent. She's excellent.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, what have you been doing some traveling lately, or what have you been up to?
Every year we're going to Aruba next month in August, kind of like an early birthday present. But I'm fortunate. We're a global company, Cumulus Media, Westwood One. So I actually work with companies in Aruba, sailing companies, jewelry store companies, all types of things. And the things that work in business in Aruba are the same things that work right here in Myrtle Beach.
Man, that's really cool. There's a song, and it used to go. We're going to have to do an a cappella. This is the a cappella part of the show.
I'm ready.
Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you. All right, we're good. I don't want to lose viewers.
I have met the Beach Boys. I love the Beach Boys. Al Jardine. Shout out to Al Jardine.
You've met the Beach Boys? Give me some
One member
context
of the
on.
Beach Boys. I got to meet Al before a concert.
Okay.
And it was in Charlotte. He was a great guy, very dapper, super nice. And we spent so much time talking, they had to pull him away because he had a concert to go
No way.
sing. So it was really great day. Love the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Did you get his autograph, or like how did
He
you?
autographed a ukulele that I brought from Aruba.
Yeah.
For that song, because we played that song at
Wow.
our wedding. I got married in Aruba. So.
Man, that's so cool. You know, I
Yeah.
always feel weird when I see a celebrity because you might really like them, but you don't want to be that guy who's being annoying about it.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and you figure like you lose your coolness as a fan when you're like, sir, can you please? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So here was mine. Are you a NASCAR fan at all?
A little bit.
Okay, a little bit of
love
NASCAR.
sports.
So I'm in the pits at NASCAR.
Richard Petty's my favorite race car.
Richard, all right. Well, Richard, he's royalty, of course, you know. So I'm down there in the pits, and I don't mean like I was in the dumps. I mean, I'm in the pit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm walking down, and I pass by none other than Joe Gibbs.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
Joe Gibbs is the
Joe Gibbs
owner of
Racing.
Gibbs Racing, absolutely. I'm a lifelong Washington football fan, as they say. So I pass by Joe Gibbs this close, and in that moment, I'm thinking, do I say hello to Mr. Gibbs? He's on the radio.
That's
Sorry.
right.
And I chose not to, but I will tell you that I did run ahead of him, and I did one of these things. So I maintained my cool point with Joe Gibbs, I think. Anyway, we'll
Made some eye contact. That's good.
a little eye contact, and the story now goes that me and Joe Gibbs are best friends. So anyway, no. Well, John, I'm excited to have you on. We're going to talk a little bit about your keys to success. I know that you deal with a lot of business leaders. You deal with a lot of companies around the area. Just from your aspect, is there any particular company other than like Carolina Bays and Leader Mentality that you feel like have shown you just great leadership?
There's a lot of great companies out there. I've learned from a lot. There's so many different industries out there. Part of being part of the Homebuilder Association is you get to learn and work with a lot of different companies.
Absolutely.
Beach landscaping, up and over roofing, all different types of 4-star plumbing, air mechanical. There's lots of great businesses out there, but they all have the same thing in common. They've got great teams, they've got hard work ethic, they have integrity, and they want to be a part of the community, not just a business. So that's one thing that I really love about that.
I love that. You hit on two things that I think are important, and I always want to bring value on this show. I want to give people something they can understand, because when this country was founded, it was founded on the principle that you could own your own land, you could own your own business, you could build your own empire. So many people want to be a business owner, but they don't know how much is going on behind the scenes. And so I love that you just said there's a common denominator behind these businesses. One of them is they support their community.
That's right.
I read something at one point. They said that 8 of 10 customers surveyed said that they found that a huge decision maker for them in hiring who they hired is that they were a part of their community, that they were locally owned and operated. So what better could you do than go out and join the community, be at the festivals and things like that?
Exactly. There's so many different levels you can participate. It doesn't take a lot of money. It just takes your time. So I think the time is something we can give. You have to balance that. You have to be organized, but I think there's a lot of great opportunities out there, and just year round, there's something to do. So
yeah,
we're a tight-knit business community. It's a big beach, but it's kind of like a small business community.
Yeah.
And so just a lot of great opportunities out there.
Cool.
Just finding your passion and kind of go after it.
No doubt. What's the busiest city you've ever been in?
The busiest city, goodness gracious. I took a trip last year. I went to Paris and London back to back.
Oof.
And those cities are very busy, almost too busy there. Great places to visit, but those places are very busy.
Now, let me tell you something. I
Yeah.
lived in England for 3 years, so you can't drop an England reference. And now I'm going to have to ask you all about London. So when you're, I'm just kidding, I don't have any London questions, but it is amazing because when you're in England, and I'm going to say the UK for all
Sure.
intents and purposes, there's a lot of country land and countryside. It's not rare to see some cows over here and some sheep over here, and that makes up a large part of the country. When you go to London, downtown London, it's like New York City. It's like every other big city in this country.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the drivers are a lot more aggressive over there.
Very aggressive. I mean, it takes you like 2 hours just to go 2 blocks.
Right,
Lots
exactly.
Of people. Lots of people.
And then you have to wonder, should I have just walked? Yeah, I probably should have just walked. All right.
Always better to walk there, for sure.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's jump into some question about you.
Yep.
You are a Cumulus Media executive. I know from following you around a little bit that you have got a great career. You've really made this into a very successful venture. Tell me and the people a little bit about how did you get into this role? And if you would, just take us back to the beginning, man.
Yeah, so I think if you're able to, I always recommend to anybody kind of starting up, even if you're in college, internships are a great way to start if you're able to go that way. In college, I got the opportunity to work for a lady named U.S. Senator Elizabeth Dole, married to Bob Dole, U.S. Senators. And I did an important internship for her at East Carolina University. Worked as a student there. She put me in charge of constituent services, which is basically a fancy name for saying you're going to do whatever we tell you to do. We concentrated in Veterans Affairs Department, so I had a lot of interaction with veterans and got to meet with a lot of guys that had come back from Iraq and Afghanistan and those types of experiences. So that gave me a great setup. And then shortly after that, I did an internship for our college radio station. So I'm working for Cumulus Media Westwood One. We're one of the biggest audio and digital companies in the world. And so I think those two experiences, working for the U.S. Senate, you working in that internship with the radio station, I didn't know it then 20 years ago, but now looking back on it, it really set me up for some success in the future.
So that's really cool, man. And I find that when you go back to the internship thing, that means a lot to me. When I'm talking to a group of college students, I always say to them, go get yourself an internship. Don't be like me. Like, honestly, when I was in college, I was that kid who was working my butt off all through college, and I was earning my way, paying my own college, tuition and everything. But I neglected to get that internship. So I feel like when I graduated, I had to run a little bit harder than those kids who have been working at the local companies, the HTCs, the Nikes, if you're near there or wherever. Does that make sense?
Hands-on experience.
Yeah, for sure. But for yourself, did you know when you were a kid, I mean, did you always want to go into media, or tell me a little bit about that upbringing?
A few things. I had kind of like a traumatic incident when I was younger. My parents were driving. I was heading home. We got hit by a drunk driver that night. And I was lucky to survive that. But the circumstances of that were that I was not wearing a seatbelt at the time, and I always wore a seatbelt. So just from that incident, the police officer telling me that day that if you'd been wearing a seatbelt, you probably would have died that night. And having that 1 in a million chance of not wearing that seatbelt kind of saved my life. And ever since then, I thought I had a purpose. I didn't know what it was, but I really believed there was a purpose and a future for me that was kind of set. And so I always had that in the back of my mind. And then just my parents, see my dad was raised in an orphanage, really had no contacts or kind of any kind of business contacts. He went to trade school, started a business in 1969 that's still around today in 2024.
Wow.
And so being able to see that hard work and knowing that if you put the work in, that good things are going to happen. So I didn't know quite how that was going to work out. But I did have a vision that there was a plan for me. So I'm excited about kind of where it's taken me.
Man, it's powerful. A lot of times when you have something happen that's traumatic to you, you have something that's a challenge. I read this thing once, and I've said this on the show before. I heard this formula once, and the first time I ever heard it was in a book called The Liberty of Our Language Revealed with Thomas Blackwell. And I've referenced this before, but Thomas wrote a good book if you ever want to read one. But it said E plus R equals O, and that is an event plus your response equals the outcome. And I use this sometimes, and I use it with my employees, but I also like to remind people of that, because when that event happened to you, it's like you could have gone into a major depression, into a tailspin for years over something traumatic that happened to you, and you looked at it and you found more like the blessing of something that was very uncanny, and it's kind of shaped your life a little bit. You look at it, you appreciate each day a little bit more.
Absolutely, just the opportunity, and each day is a gift, So once you kind of have that setting, especially if you're a young kid, becoming an adult, it just makes it that easier to kind of go after every day, kind of seize the day and be thankful for what you have.
Well, now, from your background, I know a little bit. You mentioned Elizabeth Dole earlier. Sure. and that campaign. You've worked with several political candidates over the years, and you've learned some things. And one thing I found interesting off screen is we were talking about how these people are marketing themselves. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they're trying to get a message out. They're trying to show how they're unique to everybody else. They're trying to let the people know what is inside that drives them. There's all these key details. And I'm thinking, that's exactly what a business should be doing. That's the leader mentality. So tell me a little bit about what you saw them doing that you also think businesses should be applying.
Easy. Okay, so that is kind of the thing that I try to bring to work every single day. Is kind of a political mentality to business. And if you're going to win any office, it doesn't matter if you're running for mayor or state legislature or the presidency, you have to be known, you have to be remembered, and then the people will elect you. But you have to be known and remembered first in order to be elected, or in order to be electable. And it's the same thing if you're a heating and cooling company, if you're a construction company, a plumbing company, a pool company. You have to be known and remembered, and then at that point, once you've gotten that brand kind of communicated to the community, once you've got that brand, and people know and remember you, your business is always going to thrive after that.
Yeah, okay, I love this. Now, let's go a step further. I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch because I know, like you'll be like, hey, Rob, you should be advertising with Cumulus Media, of course, which is certainly part of something you should be thinking about. But I want to talk specifically about known.
Yes.
You said you should be known and remembered. Now, remembered can be any which way. You can be out here and just have a creative jingle. You could have a creative slogan. You could be something that you did out in the community. But when you're not known and you're trying to get known, let's think about that brand new company out there. Let's talk about that brand new political candidate. How do you get known? I mean, are there some secrets?
Well, let's talk about one, just business networking. There are people out there that are more successful than we are. So there's all types of business networking groups, whether it be the Home Builders Association, the Chamber of Commerce. You've got networking organizations. BNI comes to mind. But those types of networking organizations are going to put you in a room with other leaders, with other people that have value, and they're always going to be able to teach you something, even if it's in a completely different industry. Just knowing the weather of business, with a 10, 20, 30 other people, there's value there. The relationships that you build, how you present yourself. I think getting out there into the community and those organizations is important. And then just trying to do something deeper. Have like that 60-second kind of way to present yourself. This is our name. This is what our services are. But also come up with a slogan. Change that slogan up every year. Do different things that are kind of that are important to you. We try to always kind of personalize each business because some things are more attractive than others, more sexy than others. But you can make tree services sexy if you just kind of be creative with it and kind of jump into it.
I heard a good slogan, and I'm not going to name. I don't want to get into company names too much, but I heard a slogan from a trash company.
Okay.
They're a company that picks up trash, and they said it's this whole thing, and they said, and we're not just talking trash. And I thought that was great, man. I was like, what a smart way to do it. But another thing you said, okay, so you go back into the networking. I think that is extremely underrated. When you're networking with people and you're finding that way to get into their bubble and doing that one-on-one with them, I think there's another important thing that you should do, and that is simple questions. Where are your leads coming from? When you establish a great network of people, you have that little core group around you, you should be able to ask a question without that being threatening. Like, hey, John, where are you getting all your leads from these days, right?
Absolutely. What's working for you? What's not working for you?
Absolutely. Exactly. And it doesn't mean that just because they tried it didn't work, it won't work for you. But when they have that one eureka moment, I think that's something that you want to know and maybe apply it for yourself. I'm a big fan of originality. I don't believe you should ever copy anybody. But if somebody says, look, where my leads are coming from I'm over at the trade show every weekend, I'm like, well, I should be listening.
Absolutely. It's time to get a tent. It's time to get some, maybe like a table skirt. It's time to get some stuff to pass out.
Yeah.
Definitely, you can learn so much just from being out and listening. So I think that's one important part of being a leader. We're talking about leader mentality, being a great listener, being kind of humble, and almost this is something I thought about before today, is being a good follower. There's a lot of great leaders out there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you need to take a back seat and let someone else lead. And I think that's one thing that we don't really talk about a lot. But being able to be a good follower, being able to understand, that you can't be the leader for everything. And even if you're a leader, being able to be led is also an important quality.
I wish that there was a show that we could do called the Follower Mentality Show. And I'm joking a little bit, but what I'm saying is it is critically underrated. This country never got to where it was without having some great followers. People almost use follower like it's a bad thing. I'd say no, it's a great thing to be a great follower. The thing that's not good to be is the resentful non-leader. Correct. You know what I'm saying? Like you're that person who's like, I should have been in charge. Well, those are the people who are really causing all the disdain and all the problems. But if you're a great follower, I think about some of the great missions in this world's history that have ever been done by great followers who are just following a great directive.
Yeah, when you talk about military, when you talk about sports, you're basically talking about a group of leaders that made a choice to follow and become good followers. And they had championships. They had some great success. Fought for freedom. All those good things.
You're a sports fan?
Big sports fan.
Who's your favorite team in any sport?
I love Michael Jordan. He's probably my favorite athlete. So the Chicago Bulls are probably right there my favorite team.
Fair enough. Michael Jordan. What made Michael Jordan special? Because he is, in my estimation, the GOAT. So what made him special when you watch him?
My favorite thing about him is just that he was the first one to say that he missed more game-winning shots than anybody in history, and that really spoke to me because to be the best or to be a successful person, you have to be able to deal with failure. You have to be able to deal with setbacks and adversity. And I think part of being able to make that shot or being able to ace that test or what have you is resilience and, kind of having that no fear, having that experience. And so the confidence to take that shot, but also the experience that you've made and missed that shot and what it takes to make that shot.
I think that's critically important for everybody to understand. When you get yourself into a position where you expose yourself, and I mean expose yourself to the comfort of your own world. Sometimes we're so busy trying to protect ourselves. It's like when you open up and you give yourself a chance to be vulnerable because you are trying something new, I think people respect that. I'll give you an example. So CCMF is coming up, the Carolina Country Music Festival. Love this. Are you going, by the way?
Love music. I'll be there all 4 nights. So if you see me there, come say hi to me.
Come say hi to Jon Silver for sure. Well, over at this event, you have some of the great performers. You have people who have really worked hard behind the scenes. And every year I like to do a CCMF special. And I have mine coming up. So check out some of the clips that are going to come out this weekend, as a matter of fact. But one of the people I had on last year was a young lady named Lauren Hall. And Lauren told me the story about how she was so timid when she was a child. It was hard to even say hello to people. And then, how do you get to the point where you're having a hard time saying hello, and now you're performing on a stage in front of 10,000 people? And she talked about that. I said, you know what? I respect that so much more than the person who has no challenge getting in front of people. To me, that's inspiring. To me, that's the leadership element where you say there's a leader mentality.
Absolutely, yeah. It takes courage to be a leader. You've got to be courageous. You've got to, be willing to take those chances, and you've got to be willing to just get out there. At some point, you're going to be the face of your company. Yeah. Even if you're just beginning in your first year, or if you're a business owner, you're going to be the face of that company. So it takes a lot of courage and carrying yourself the right way, being respectful, having those types of things. Well, very important.
I agree with you. One thing I will tell other people is when you find yourself, and you're hitting all these topics today, so I have to keep hitting on it too. You talk about you're going to be the face of your organization. You're going to be the leader at the top of your industry. Here's what I'd say to you. Be yourself.
Exactly.
There's so many people out there trying to be like somebody else. And I'm saying if you're trying to be like somebody else, you are definitely not being your purest and best self. And so when I think about Michael Jordan, and I think about the way he went about it, if LeBron tries to be Michael Jordan, he's not going to be him. He'll be a less good version of a Michael Jordan. So if you're quiet, be quiet and confident. If you're strong, be strong and direct. If you're a great listener, be the best listener of all time, but don't be somebody you're not.
Exactly. Be in the moment, be yourself. It's the best advice you can give anybody in business. Be yourself, but try to be the best version of yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so one last thing on this before we get into your 4 tips. So CCMF is coming up. Who are you looking forward to seeing out there?
Morgan Wallen is obviously the headliner, so I'm excited about that. Carrie Underwood, we've been fighting to have a female headliner, so I'm excited about that. Girl power, but I want to make sure that nobody sleeps on Diamond Rio because they have more hits than just about anybody at this music festival. They're part of that 80s country that made it so great, so I'm really looking forward to Diamond Rio.
Very nice, man. Yeah. I love it. Well, hey, hopefully we'll see you out there. Okay. So let's start off with where we started off at. And let's talk about those 4 keys to success. And the reason this was so important to me that I have you on and talk about this, and with your experience dealing with people who have had a lot of success in what they're doing, I want to talk about, set the stage for you. You're a leader, or do you desire to be a leader? And anybody knows about my version of leaders, I believe that everybody is a leader. I believe that you could be a new leader, a leader in development, if you will. You could be the leader of all leaders, but everybody's a leader. But from leadership sometimes comes challenges to your day. Life is not easy. So when you're getting to that point where you got to ground yourself and find that success again that can inspire others, you have 4 keys. Let's start from the top and tell me what you got.
Yeah, so my four keys to success. I think that you can start off with this if you're already a business owner that is already successful and had some success, or if you're just starting out and you're kind of like a young professional, getting ready to start your career. The 4 keys to my success are, number 1, think in the morning. Think deeply in the morning. I always start off my day trying to read something of relevance, trying to read just a favorite book or a book that has kind of some deep thoughts. Or
give me a book. Give me a book.
You can read kind of like a holy book like the Bible or the Torah. You can read something by George Washington. There's a lot of good books. The Art of War. That's another great book that I read. So just anything that kind of makes you think deeply is really important. But you always want to start your day out thinking deeply with kind of heavy thoughts. it'll make all the other decisions you make that day a lot easier.
I do think that whether, and you say early morning, I think, even if you work the night shift and you don't wake up until maybe the evening time, the point is when you wake up in the morning, you need to get yourself, or whenever you wake up, you need to get yourself started proper for the day. It's like you look at, I remember Michael Johnson. You remember the sprinter Michael Johnson, 200, 400 meter, one of the great American Olympians of all time. I used to love watching him. But you watch his preparation for success, all the way down to the shoes he's wearing, what he's eating, the mindset that he has. We should be doing that on a day-to-day, even if I can't run the 200 as fast as Michael Johnson or is as fast as the girls' track team over here. That is important. You got to prepare like you're going to be the best.
Exactly. Think deeply and then prepare your day, prepare your week, kind of set that outline.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so what else?
So number 2, act in the day or act in the afternoon. Whether it's setting up business meetings with your clients, taking care of your customers. For me, the most active as far as business is between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. for me. So somewhere in that timeline between 10 in the morning and 6 p.m., I'm meeting with clients, I'm working hard, I'm managing campaigns, whatever I need to do to kind of get the business done. Making sure you're taking advantage of that opportunity in the meat of the day, basically.
So what do you do on the day where you just can't get it going? I mean, honestly, let's be real. Everybody has that moment where you're like, oh man, I'm trying to get some motivation here. What do you do?
Yeah, you know what? I'm fortunate enough to work with people like Greg Norman's here, Oceanfront Restaurants. So if I'm kind of in a jam at home, I'll take my work with me somewhere else, like Brook Green Gardens, like a park, like an oceanfront restaurant.
I like that.
I'll look at the ocean, I'll see the sunshine, see everybody having fun, and it'll motivate me to do my work quicker, right? So I can get out there with them. But also it'll just give me a pleasant surroundings. I really think that the setting matters, either by yourself or with your clients. That setting matters so you can do business.
Man, that's huge. Your environment matters so much. Picture you're a fish and you're in a little bowl the size of this cup, or you're in a giant ocean, right? Imagine how you're functioning differently based on your environment, good or bad. I'll tell you, I found one trick is that if you go to your local coffee shop and you pull your laptop out, sometimes you can just get a different environment that resets your day. Now, not every job allows you to do that, and I certainly can appreciate that. But what I would say to you is if you're in a job where you cannot just leave and go somewhere else, just step away for a minute, ground yourself, get back to the fight. So exactly. Good stuff. I love that, man. Environment matters. So
then third, do something in the evening with someone that you love, whether it be eating dinner with your family, your friends. I try to do something every day with someone that I love, just to make that whole work experience matter. You've got to have that work-life balance. You've already worked hard. You've already gotten lots of stuff done. Kind of check things off your list. Now it's time to enjoy the home life. Enjoy time with your family, your friends. A good happy hour goes a long way towards business if you want to do that. But make sure you're enjoying time in the evening with people that you love. And then finally, taking care of yourself, getting enough sleep at night, getting enough rest. You're never going to be good tomorrow if you're not getting that rest. So just take care of yourself. You want to make sure that you've got a good personal life, that you're happy at home, happy with your health and your friends and your family. Get that rest, and then tomorrow you'll be ready to take on anything. So
what I heard here, and I appreciate those 4 tips, the 4 keys to success, I believe that to go back to your do something with somebody you love. When we begin to embrace the fact that this world is not all about us, it's not all about our individual successes, it's about our relationships we create, I believe that helps you to thrive. And it goes all the way down to the way that you work with your customers, the way that you work with your friends, your family. So remember, it's bigger than just you. And the thing that you said about taking care of yourself, I think that it's become trendy in America to work harder. You just outwork everybody. And I believe hard work is definitely a key. You got to know how to put your nose to the grind. Some of the most famous successful people of all time were notoriously hard worker. Kobe Bryant, people like this who are just always
grit, all those
Dwayne Johnson, right? You see these people, but here's the thing: they also knew when to take care of themselves. They know that you can't grind all the time and not have that recharge time. So you got to remember. Go to the gym, keep yourself healthy, eat properly when you can. I mean, hey, look, have a cheat day if you need to, but take care of yourself.
Exactly. If you're going to make a long-term investment in your business, if you want to have the greatest business 10 years from now, then you're going to have to be healthy and happy 10 years from now also. So you've got to plan accordingly.
You got to feel good. Yeah. You got to feel good to perform good. That's something that I think is underrated. And boy, I sometimes philosophically think, I'll wake up in the morning and I got a little headache and I'm thinking, boy, I wish it was like yesterday when I didn't have that headache, right? You perform well when you're feeling your best, so set yourself up for that.
Exactly.
Awesome,
Take care of yourself.
4 great keys to success. Well, Jon, it's been some amazing stuff you've given us today. I think that you obviously brought a lot of value, and I love these keys. Hopefully people can apply those at home. Tell us a little bit about how people can find out more about you and what you do.
So Cumulus Media Westwood One, we've been around for a very long time. We're one of the world's largest audio and digital companies. The best way to explain Cumulus Media in a nutshell is, we're reaching 250 million people each month, almost 30 million people a day. And we're doing that on different types of devices, anything with a speaker or a screen on it. So TVs, phones, computers, smart speakers. We're able to reach people in lots of different ways now. So multi-platform, kind of digital media, all that stuff is super exciting. But we're a global company now. So it's not just here in Myrtle Beach. It's not just in Dallas and Charlotte and Chicago. We're managing campaigns in Paris and Rome, Italy. We're managing campaigns across the Caribbean and St. Thomas and St. Martin, the Bahamas, Aruba. So business is global now. The same thing that makes a business successful here in Myrtle Beach is the same thing that makes a business successful in Aruba or Paris. So everything is kind of flattened out as far as digital media technology. Everybody has a phone. We're kind of all glued to it right now. Hopefully people are watching this on their phone right now. But between the smart TVs and the phones, we've got a path to connect your business to your customers. That's exciting right now, and it's an exciting time to be in business.
One thing before we get off of this subject, I do want to say, 2024 is a magical time where you as a little guy can perform like the big guys. Never used to be like that. Look, maybe I can't afford an ad in the Super Bowl, but I can sure get myself on media pound for pound with those other big guys. So some of the things you're doing with the smartphones and the streaming media and all that,
absolutely
very powerful.
Yeah, all those things have kind of changed the game. Now you've got plumbing companies that are advertising on TikTok and YouTube and Spotify, and it's totally revolutionized how people can reach their customers, how their customers can view them. And now you can't just go to a phone book or just kind of a newspaper anymore. There's 10 different ways, maybe 100 different ways to reach your customers. So It's exciting.
Sounds good, man. Well, and what's your phone number? How do they reach you there?
843-504-9366 is my number. And you can reach me by email also, jonathan.silver@cumulus.com. And that's CUMULUS.
All right, great deal. Well, man, we appreciate you being on the show.
Really
great to have you. And we'll look forward to keeping up with you in the future. And we want to thank all of the people who are watching The Leader Mentality right now. Thanks for being such loyal followers and listeners to the show. Make sure to check out Carolina Bays Real Estate and Construction, our sponsor. Also, check out the Leaders List, a group of some of the best companies in the area. And we'll see you all next time on The Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens.